Beef stifado is a mouth-watering Greek stew made with loads of pickling onions, 1/2 kilo in fact. It sounds like a lot, but they slowly cook in the oven and release their sugars for the most stunning sauce. We start by seasoning our beef. I've got 1 kilo of chuck steak here. You want a beef that's suitable for slow cooking, and chuck's got lots of fat and collagen that'll break down. Some cracked pepper. Now, traditionally this is made with beef, but you can also make it with rabbit. If you're game, rabbit just needs a little less cooking time. Just gonna give that a toss. Okay, now into a hot pan with extra virgin olive oil, about 2 tablespoons to start. You just want to get a nice colour on that beef. When you're searing meat, it's important not to overcrowd the pan because you don't want the meat to stew. You want to get a nice colour on it. Whilst that's searing, I'm going to get onto my garlic. I've got 5 cloves here. I'm just going to bash them and roughly slice them so they're ready for the next step. I remember my mother making beef stifado growing up. The house was filled with the most intoxicating aroma of sweet spices, cinnamon, allspice, berries. The neighbours would run over and ask what we're making. I'm going to give that beef a turn. Chuck's a great cut of meat to cook with because it's very economical. It's not expensive at all. Okay, our beef's got some nice colour on it. I'm just going to remove it and set it aside so we can get on to our tomato sauce. Set that aside there, and we add the remaining oil. In go the onions. We're using 1/2 kilo of pickling onions here. Now you don't need to cut these, all you need to do is peel them and leave them whole. I just want to get some nice colour on these onions before I add our garlic and tomato paste. Colour equals flavour. Okay, our onions have got a little bit of colour on them. In with the garlic and the tomato paste. We just want to cook this paste off so we don't get that raw tomato taste. Give it a quick toss. It only needs about 30 seconds here. And in with the rest of the ingredients. Now we're going to deglaze our pan with some red wine for some lovely richness. I'm just going to let that reduce by half. Now for the rest of our ingredients. Honey for sweetness, straight in. You're getting sweetness from the honey and sweetness from the onion here. 1/2 can of crushed tomatoes. About 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. This is going to add a lovely richness to our stew and some really nice acidity as well. A cup of water. And for our aromats, sweet cinnamon, clove, this is just the most magnificent combination. 3 fresh bay leaves, I like to rip them to release all their oils before I add them in. And a teaspoon of whole allspice. And another pinch of salt and cracked pepper. I'm just going to give this a mix. And then we return our beef to the pan. Now, as this beef has been sitting there are some resting juices in the bottom of that pan. Don't throw those out. You want to add them back in. All the flavour is in there. Okay, and those resting juices go in too. Okay, I'm going to pop the lid on and place this in the oven for about 2.5 to 3 hours. We want that beef to be really, really tender. Our stew's ready. Oh, that smells amazing. That smells like my childhood on a cold winter's day. I'm serving it with mash today, but you can serve it with rice or potatoes, whatever you like. Get a nice chunky piece of beef here. It's just literally falling apart. Look at that beautiful oozy sauce. Some extra onions, another chunk of meat. Can't wait to dig into this. A little bit of meat, a little bit of potato. Oh, that is sensational. All those beautiful aromatic spices and that tender fall apart beef. The most delicious winter stew you will ever make.